The newest Gundam starter deck, ST05, is already here with Iron Bloom featuring the Iron-Blooded Orphans series. So let's go ahead and open up the starter deck, check out the new cards along with the new color for the game, and talk about the budget build, which combines 2 copies of them, and how to build it.
Alright, let's check this out. Starter deck 05 Iron Bloom. I'm kind of curious why just randomly kind of like in the middle of the month, but between like sets, why like a starter deck kind of came out like that. But either way, cool new cards to check out. Love the artwork on the cover already, so let's see what we can pull right here and let's see what we got. So, as always, the deck itself and a pack, as well as the kind of like a leaflet of how to play and everything. Okay. First time seeing these cards in person, so let's... This one's kind of tight. Yeah, this one's tight. Okay, we got it. Nice. Okay, so we're starting off with Gundam Barbatos, which is the first ever purple color deck being introduced in the game already this soon, which is cool. Deploy, choose one of your other units, deal 1 damage to it. It gets +1 AP this turn. Has suppression, which is a new keyword. Double damage into shields. Pretty strong. I like offensive, like strong, powerful attacks like that. Always a huge fan of, like, you know, with Digimon security attack +1. So this is basically kind of what it is. So security attack +1. I love the artwork on this as well. It just looks super cool. The pose, everything. Favorite artist out there. Oh, this one got stuck a little bit here. Okay, so that's our first LR. We got 2 copies of that. And then we have the McGillis. This is the blocker for the deck. When you pair -2 AP to something that's level 3. Yeah, the defensive unit of the deck. And then we have the regular Barbatos, which is the weaker one, I guess, or the lower level one, which is not like the LR. Just 2/4, and as long as it's damaged, it gets pretty much extra 2 AP. So that's kind of what the purple color scheme is all about so far, is that you want to be damaged. In order to have damage, you get buffs. That's kind of how it works. And this is what the mobile worker works with its main effect. You just deal 1 damage to one unit and it gets extra AP. So a lot of pumping up with extra AP, which makes your units way stronger. So that's basically usually the game plan. Gray's Custom. Vanilla unit. Which is pretty much like our GM and our gens that we currently have. Gundam. Not too sure how to pronounce this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Gyujin. Okay, so destroyed. Choose 1 enemy unit. 4 HP or less, and you just rest it. This can link together with Akihiro. 4 copies of those. Hyakuren. And then we got, I guess this is like the Rizal. 3 copies of that. Gray's commander type. Kind of like the upgraded version of Zwart, because it can actually attack into bases or shields. But the only difference is that it's just 1 level higher. So this could become a pretty decent card down the road. Since it's a blocker and all that kind of stuff, early game blocker could change, could upgrade some of your any blue-white decks. Any decks that play white would include that. Another 1 cost unit that's level 2 with 2/2 stats, which is exactly the same as Demi Garrison. Now we're going to move on to our pilots. Mikazuki. When you pair, choose 1 of your units and 1 enemy unit, deal 1 damage. So that's kind of how you get your Barbatos buffs. A 2/1 pilot right there. And then we got Akihiro. Some trash effects. I wonder if purple is going to be like also, aside from just like dealing damage to itself, I wonder if there's going to be a lot of stuff that kind of like recurs back from trash and plays stuff back in trash in the future. So lots of cool things to anticipate for that. McGillis, get to rest units with Iron and Blood, which is going to be our first command card here. You just deal 1 damage to one of your own units, and then you get extra 3 AP for the turn. Main action step card to counter against your opponents. Fatal Strike, the removal card, command card, so you simply just deal 1 damage with its burst effect. But with its main effect, you just straight up destroy a level 3 or lower enemy unit. And this is the base card. You just, again, pump it up with extra AP as long as you have a damaged unit. Give it to it. And we have a reprint, which is Unforeseen Incident and new art for that. pretty good, decent staple card to have for sure, just because you can minus AP, trade into bodies. I'm pretty much a bigger fan of this card just because I feel like when it comes to like Barbatos and the purple cards, you want them to survive the battles, but you want them to take damage at the same time, so you can surprise your opponents a lot. And the strategy is to like reduce your opponent's AP as you attack into them, so that you don't take a whole lot of damage, but then you will have damage on you, and then that's when you get your buffs going forward. So that's one way to go for it. And yeah, we end up with the usual resource cards right here. And then here we go with the bonus pack, foil upgrade. Let's see what we got right here. Something cool perhaps. Oh, we got Gray's commander type. Foil version. Looks fantastic and really nice. Love the textures and everything on it as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the opening. But as you guys always know, I always recommend getting 2 copies of a starter deck, because there's some cards that you guys saw and you only get 3 copies of, 2 copies of, and you want to ensure that you get your play sets and so on in order to make the budget build. Unfortunately, no god deck here. Usually if it's a god deck, now I learned that it will be right in the front of the cover, because the Barbatos will have like a special art, which you get in the bonus pack. So perhaps, yeah. I'm still just going to open this quickly, but just to show you guys, it's exactly the same contents. Again, like, you know, Barbatos, only 2 copies from a deck, and then only the McGillis. You know, you want to have 4 copies of these in order to build your deck. You know, what other card examples I can show you that there's only 3 of to begin with, such as this unit right here. There's only 3, so you want to have, you know, a playset of. Same for this, the Grays, the pilot here, the pilot here, command cards like here, these command cards. You want to make sure that you have a playset as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But you know, let's see and hope for the best with this bonus pack. See if we can get something cool to show you guys. But looks like here we got Unforeseen Incident, which is the foil version. Looks nice once again. But yeah, that's about it.
So now let's talk about the budget build, which I always recommend you guys getting 2 copies of each starter deck, because that ensures you to get a playset of every single card that you need in order to make this build. ST05 Iron Bloom mainly features Gundam Barbatos as the main boss unit, as well as the newest color being introduced into the game, which is purple. The color identity of purple so far is to have your units take damage in order to actually gain additional buffs, such as additional AP or even a new keyword, suppression. The secondary color of the deck is white, featuring the Grays units from the series, which provide you blocker for a defensive playstyle. At the same time, they can reduce your opponent's AP to weaken them, so that you ensure your purple units survive battles. Overall, the starter deck gives you enough smaller unit cards that you can play out to rush down your opponent's shields and bases for a offensive play strategy. So let's begin talking about our unit cards, starting with our level 2s, which are running 4 copies of Grays Custom and only 2 copies of the regular Grays. Next, moving on for level 3s, I'm running 4 copies of Hyakuren, which is a 2-cost unit with 4/3 stats, which is really strong by itself because it can take down a whole EX space, and that is a secondary unit that you want to start playing out in your level curves so that you can begin attacking as well with them. Switching towards the more defensive side for the other level 3, I'm also running 4 copies of Gray's Commander, which is your main blocker of the deck that you want to put out in the early stages to stop any aggressive plays that your opponents might try to attack into you. Level 4s, I'm running 4 copies of Gundam Barbatos second form. For 2 costs, it is a unit with 2/4 stats. However, its AP can be increased by another 2 as long as this unit is damaged. Ideally, this is a card that you want to link together with Mikazuki so you can deal damage to it and then immediately gain the buff afterwards. Next, I'm also running 4 copies of Gundam Fusion Rebake. When this unit is destroyed, you get to choose one enemy unit with 4 AP or less and rest it. You also want to link it together with Akihiro together so you can make an attack in the same turn. Then to round off the rest of the level 4s, as I'll introduce our very first LR boss unit of the deck, which are going to be the 4 copies of McGillis Schwalbe Grays. It is our big blocker with 4/2 stats, and when you pair it, you get to choose one enemy unit that's level 3 or lower, and it gets -2 AP for this turn. This is really good to help you combo with your purple cards to weaken your opponent's units as you attack over them, so you still take a little bit of damage, but not enough for them to take you down. That is how you can gain your additional buffs from your purple effects. And now for the level 6s, you certainly want to be playing the 4 copies of Gundam Barbatos 4th form. When you play out this card, you choose one of your other units and deal 1 damage to it, but it also gets additional 1 AP for the turn. While this unit is damaged, it gains the keyword suppression, which is a new effect that allows you to attack 2 shields at the same time. By linking it together with Mikazuki, that is how you gain the additional buff, and then you can start attacking aggressively into your opponents to deal as much damage as possible in order to win. Speaking of Mikazuki, this is where we're going to transition into our pilot cards, which you want to run 4 copies of this just so you can link it together with your Gundam Barbatos and you play both the level 4 and the level 6s so you can see it as often as possible. As for the secondary purple pilot, I'm running 3 copies of Akihiro, which ideally we want to link it together with Fusion Rebake. That way we can gain the during link effect. As long as this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, we get to choose one Tekkadan unit card that is level 2 or lower from our trash and return it back to our hand. However, the only target we can ever grab back off this effect is going to be the Gray's custom units, which I mentioned earlier, specifically why I play 4 copies of, especially when I don't play the mobile worker as well. Moving on with our white pilot cards, I'm running the 4 copies of McGillis. When you pair it, as long as you have 2 or more other Yellowhorn or Tekkadan units in play, you get to choose one enemy unit with 3 HP or less and rest it. This is great to take down the enemy units, especially when you link it together with Schwab Greys. Otherwise, take this opportunity to rest down the enemy blockers so that they can swing directly into their shield and bases. Now, let's talk about command cards, which I'm running 2 copies with Iron and Blood. You can use this card during your main or during the action step to give one of your units 1 damage. Afterwards, it gains additional 3 AP for the turn. This is great for counter-attacking into your opponents or swing over ginormous bodies if you ever need to. And then I'm running 2 copies of Unforeseen Incident, which got a reprint with a new art in this deck as well. The main idea is to weaken the AP of your enemy units as you battle so that your own units take less damage, and that way you can actually proc the effects of your purple units to gain their additional buffs. Otherwise, you can also use this card to slow down any aggro-based strategies with smaller units that your opponent might try to attack into your shields or bases. And then for the last command card, I'm currently only running 1 copy of Fatal Strike. With its burst effect, you get to choose one enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. Otherwise, if you use this card during the main phase, you simply destroy one of your enemy units that's level 3 or lower. Once again, a great card to immediately take down any smaller units for against aggro matchups, or otherwise you can get rid of smaller blockers to clear the way for you to attack as well. And then to round off for the rest of the deck build with our base cards, I'm running 4 copies of Isaribi. A simple effect to rest itself to give one of your units additional 2 AP for the turn as long as it has damage on it. Once again, another method to strengthen your own bodies to trade into your opponent's boss units or strike down bases. That's it for the deck build, and I'm excited with GDO2 as we get to power up this starter deck with even more purple cards and Barbatos support. So make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for even more Gundam content on the channel. If you want to support me and the channel even further, make sure to grab your very own first assembly playmat on the AVAULT store right now, alongside with the collection, which includes a deck box, binder, dice, and sleeves, which includes everything that you need to get started. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, whatever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.